And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Experience Podcast. It's been a while, a little bit hectic towards the end of the summer as we were winding up, everyone getting back to school and preparing for our fall challenge here. So we did have to put the podcast aside for a bit, and that's part of life, guys. There's going to be dips in life where you're going to have to overcome those dips and climb out of them. And that's what we're doing today. So we're back. I got another incredible guest today. I got my man Dave Patton, a fellow Sarah BJJ practitioner. I'm going to let him tell you more about himself. I'm going to introduce him. Dave, go ahead. Let the fans, the audience, the people, yourself.
All right. First, let me say, first podcast ever. So I finally moved into the future with the rest of you. As Amir said, name's Dave Patton. I'm 50, yes, with a 5. I'm a Sarah black belt. How I know Amir. We trained together. I'm a retired Nassau County Deputy Sheriff. I now work at Amityville Animal Hospital as a vet assistant as my retirement job. And also very active in rescuing and fostering dogs with Fur Babies Rescue. So, fire away.
So, again, the reason why I brought you on here, Dave, is because you're not just your work experiences, but, hey, maybe some people don't know. Yeah, we do train together. More I train under you because you are one of the instructors over at Matt Sarah's Academy. And to say that, it's a big honor because the Sarah lineage is pretty strong as far as practitioners. And not only that, you're also a instructor at Law MMA, which is owned by Chris Weidman and Ray Longo. So you have an array of experiences, plus the fostering dogs, plus we can talk I don't know if the autism is.
Oh, absolutely.
So all arrays of life.
It's funny that you bring it up. My son is high-functioning autistic. He's actually in college right now. A lot of issues over the years. But it's funny that I don't even talk about it, not because I'm ashamed, not because I don't want to, but because it's just so ingrained in part of my life. It's just, yeah, that's my son. It's not, oh, my son's autistic. It's just, that's who he is, and we deal with it. Happy to talk about it, anything you want, wide open. It's just...
Well, I don't mean it like that. I mean it because actually your son is an athlete, right? He's a traveling athlete, and you giggle, but hey, listen, I coach wheelchair athletes. Mm-hmm. So to me, anyone that moves is an athlete, right? Yeah. Even my 50-year-old students that are getting back into shape, I consider them athletes because they're moving. So
because 50 is old.
Well, they're older than myself, but the idea is that experiencing working with whether the general or autistic or animals or whatever it is, your experiences, it's like that's mental strength, Dave. That's a big part of what makes you who you are. And again, that's why I try to share people like yourself on this podcast, because there's going to be things people learn from you. But my first question really is going to be, if you could tell someone starting out, whether it be in law enforcement or in general, they want to work with animals, whatever it is that they want to pursue, what is it like? Because you've been driven to so many avenues, what has driven you and what do you find helps you succeed down those avenues? What are maybe 3 things you could tell people?
Number 1 is do things you enjoy. Law enforcement, jiu-jitsu, working with animals, I enjoy it. I've been lucky. I've had a career that I've been happy to do. Like you. You have your own place. You love it. It's something you do. It's your passion. That, every day for the last 25 years, I got up. Now when I'm retired, I get up. I'm doing something I like. I look forward to what I'm doing. That, number 1. Number 2, realize sometimes it's going to suck. You start jiu-jitsu, you get steamrolled. You're getting big guys, you're getting experienced guys, but you're learning. Stick with it. Don't just give up. Perfect example, my first foster dog. Wife and I, we rescued dogs all our lives, had rescues. We never fostered. We want to foster. We hook up with fur babies. Great, rescue organization. They give us our first dog. It comes off the transport from the south. No fur, skin infection, worms, pooping everywhere. It looks like a creature out of a movie. There you go. Good luck. It was fun, but boy did it suck at the beginning. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. I walked in. There's these gorillas. They're going to smear me all over. Yeah, they did rough me up a little, but I also learned. That's 2, right?
Yeah.
3, I don't know. That's the first 2 are pretty good.
Yeah. I would say maybe get commitment, because at 50, it's easy. Because I can tell you guys, Dave is super humble, guys. He's up at 5 in the morning getting ready to coach a 6 a.m. open mat jiu-jitsu and then a 7 a.m. And that's a retired guy that doesn't have to be doing that and is reaching out and trying to help other people. And actually, Sarah said it best when he was giving Dave his black belt. It's like he is the definition of the black belt mentality into his approach towards life. So I guess maybe I could fill that for you. That third one, if I may,
ahead.
is that your approach, I guess, towards things is be committed and don't let anything stop you, age or excuse or whatever.
Thank you, first of all, for saying lots of very nice things about me. But I look at that commitment, that goes back to number 1. I'm enjoying being there. It's good for me. It's helping me. It's helping other people. As long as I like it, I'm committed.
Yeah, and look, there's definitely levels of commitment, but yeah, man, not too many guys are up at 5 or up coaching 6 a.m. jiu-jitsu.
You know what it is? I'm very lucky to teach at 2 gyms and train at gyms. You know, I'm not just, look at me, I'm an instructor. I look at myself, I'm a student who teaches a class every now and then. That's always how I've looked at it. It's always how I will look at it. I'm never the special guy. I'm never super important. There's guys better than me at Sarah's. There's guys more committed. There's guys less committed. It's what you want out of life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in a good place now. But it's now just, typical 50, lost my train of thought.
No, but that's all right. It's
shepherd me back in, Amir. Get me back on point.
That's what I'm here for. But look, so what he's trying to explain to you guys, and it is tough because when you talk about yourself, it's a little difficult of a situation. But being around Dave, I can tell you that it's his personality is definitely warms up the room, and it makes it easier to be around him. And like he says, even though he's the instructor, he's the student. So you don't feel like you're below him, or you feel like you're at the right place. You give him the respect, but you know that the camaraderie is enough there where he's not gonna let's say in a jiu-jitsu match, he's not the guy that's going to hurt you, but he'll push you just the right amount. Same way when he's teaching the class. He's not going to push you to he's not like this strict instructor. He's a very, very fun guy to learn from, but he's making sure you're doing the job. And I think that's kind of his approach. Again, he's loving what he's doing, but he's serious about it. So serious fun, we like to call it at TFW.
There you go.
So, Dave, over the years, what do you think would say has helped you stay focused on, being in law enforcement? Definitely not something easy to be in. Staying with jiu-jitsu, and I can tell you guys, Murderers Row at Sarah Jiu-Jitsu, and back in the days, which Dave's an old school guy from the old basement days, right?
Yeah.
And so he can tell you it's not easy. So what do you think has helped you focus on that?
Most of that is the team, the people I'm with. I'm in 2 great environments. Matt, Sarah, Ray Longo have been friends forever. I've known them almost 20 years at this point. They foster the right attitudes at their gym. It's not, you walk in, it's not like the jungle where you have a hierarchy and people try to prove things. I mean, listen, we're all a little competitive. We all have fun. But you're there because you want to be there. The other students, the other instructors want to be there. You're there to learn. You're there to have fun. It makes it easy. Same thing with my old job. I was, well, without getting too deep into it, I did a lot of warrants. I had a squad of 6 guys. They were great. We all wanted to be there. They were there because they were hard workers. We worked together. It's all environment. It's the attitude you foster. You know, if it sucks and you hate it, you have one guy that doesn't like it's not playing ball with the rest of them, it's going to break down the whole system. And it's really just, and like I said, again, lucky. I got good people at the top, Matt and Ray, good people all the way down. And we kind of wean out our problems. The problems don't last. You're not mentally tough, you're not going to stay at the gym. And it's not mentally tough because I can take pain or I can work out our... Jiu-jitsu, especially, not an easy thing. Amir knows. I mean, if you've tried it, you really just got to stick to it. You got to be focused. And you got to have, know when to reach a hand out and say, hey, give me a hand, help me. Or, conversely, get that next guy, hey, you help me. I've said it to Amir, I say it a lot in class, I'm never going to be world champion. I'm not fighting in the UFC. My job is to get me better than when I walked in the door, and my students or the people I train with better than I walk in the door when they walk in the door. If I'm working with somebody better than me, I'm helping him by working with him. If nothing else, I'm a body for him to work with. That's my job. That's how I look at it. That's my world championship. I made a little quote thing with my hands because I'm not on video.
The air quotes.
Air quotes.
But, and, that is a huge part of what, our belief is here at TFW. It's like it's who you're surrounding yourself with and who you're able to, I'm able to have a person like you on here, which has a ton of experience. I started Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a former law enforcement officer for 20 plus years. So, and it's not like just some, it's part of the New York Police Department. It's not,
it was Nassau County.
Yeah, but it's in the state of New York is one of the most recognized police departments in the country. And it's what I think is, you were saying, is you love what you're doing, but you have the people around you that created that atmosphere, like you said, Matt and Ray, and that kind of translates into their students, which you can, a lot of the guys at Sarah's are very like-minded. What do you think as far as your mindset maybe separates you from some of the other guys that you've seen come and go over the years, whether on the mats, in law enforcement, in fostering dogs? Because guys, over 100 dogs fostered. It's an incredible amount of dedication. So what do you think has separated you from maybe as far as mindset? Mindset,
just get up and do it. Make that effort. Perfect example, a couple months ago, I was blessed enough, awarded, you were there, Amir, who's a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, who he'll never bring it up, but I'm bringing it up. He's very talented, and I wish I could take claim for it, but maybe I helped a little.
You help a lot.
But the day I got the black belt, it was really nice. It was really emotional. That night, I went out with my wife and out with my friends, and maybe I had a little too much to celebrate, a little too much to drink. Wake up the next day, 5 o'clock in the morning, hungover beyond belief, and sorry for the visual, naked face down in bed, still wearing my black belt, with my wife, thank God.
That's why it's the experience podcast.
Yeah, listen, this isn't the story I wouldn't tell in person.
Yeah.
So. And I'm going to make my wife listen because you say nice things. But I woke up and I said, you know what? I'm going to the gym. And I dragged my hungover 50-year-old body up to the gym to train with Tony Quagliato, one of the other black belts. Yeah, and that's it. Commitment. It's just no excuses. Get up. And again, listen, I'm in a good place in life. I have a lot of free time now. But even when I worked, I got up. That's it. Just get up, make your move, and go. Is that your incoming mail noise?
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
Nah,
sometimes you forget to turn the mute on the other computer.
You get the phones ringing.
It's all right. We'll clean that out.
That's all right. Makes it real.
For sure. All right. So like I said, commitment, guys. It's who you surround yourself with. Being around a guy like Matt Serra, who was one of the pioneers of jiu-jitsu, used to live out of the gym.
I actually, little off topic, phenomenal Matt story, which I tell all the time. This is Matt. years ago when he was in the UFC, and this is back in the days where it wasn't so big. I'm over at Ray's, and a guy comes in to do an interview with Matt. Now, UFC fighters aren't household names back in the day. The guy comes in, who am I? Am I Ray? No, I'm not Ray. Let me get you Ray. And he goes to me. He goes, listen, I got to interview Matt. Is there anything I can do to make him at ease, to make him comfortable for this interview? And I said, honestly, you need to sit down and hold on to something. He's like, what? And as soon as he says the word what, the front door is kicked open, and in comes Matt with his classic, "Ho!" noise, and off we went. And about 15 minutes later, the reporter just looks at me and nods. And that, in a nutshell, is Matt.
That's funny.
Always ready to help, always upbeat. Talk about commitment, talk about drive, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And Longo, too. A little quieter side, up, works for his guys, does what he needs to do, looks out for his people. Awesome team.
That's awesome. It's great to be a part of something like that over the years. And
it really...
Such growth over, you know.
It blows my mind that somebody who is such an unathletic person in his teens and early 20s gets to rub elbows with all these greats. It's amazing. It just like every once in a while I stop and I go, oh my God, look where I am.
I mean, that's awesome. Listen, you get to eat with the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, eat next to. Next to the food chain.
With, next to whatever, man. Listen, Dave, you're no slouch on the mat. Yeah. Tell me, Dave, how do you feel maybe jiu-jitsu and maybe some of the things you've dealt with along the way has helped maybe impact the relationships between you or yourself and your students, or maybe some of you have 3 kids. How do you think maybe they coincide with one another?
Well, I mean, it's jiu-jitsu, and there's the old saying, jiu-jitsu saved my life. Did it save my life? Made my life a whole lot better. You learn a lot. You learn there's people better than you. You learn adversity. You learn, lessons. It's like a microcosm of life. And I just, in turn, do that with my relationships. With the guys I used to, my squad that used to work for me or student, lead by example. I just expect you to do what you're supposed to do. Show up, train, have fun. I mean, we get a little goofy, absolutely. But we do our thing. We're training, we're repping. Same thing. I got 3 kids, 2 in grad school, 1 in college. Do what you're supposed to do. Go do your work, go study. Have fun. Listen, I went to college. I had fun. I know what it's like. Do what you're supposed to do.
I mean, I guess that's pretty good advice to get, But, again, I think it's a good advice to give, but it's another thing to show. And I think that's what you've been able to do, and I think that's why maybe that'll be a big success for your kids and some of your students. You show, man. Well, like, hey, listen, me being in my mid-30s now, I know that. I see, and it's not like you're an old guy, but I see that it doesn't get easier as you get older, obviously. But it's it's motivating as hell to see that you are up at 6 a.m. Open mat and then staying for a class, and you're doing all these other sessions with highest level of the food chain jiu-jitsu guys. Oh. So I think. Yes, the words are important, but I think it's the action behind the words that you're producing is the difference. Well,
I produced 3 pretty good kids, so I'm all right with it. Although only 1 does jiu-jitsu. Now, hey. I have 3 athletic kids, so I'm very pleased with all, and they're smart and they're good people, which is really what's important.
That's
I tease I have 1 2 are away at my daughter. My second oldest is at home for grad school, and I tease her out, do jiu-jitsu. Lifelong athlete, played soccer from the age of 4, lacrosse goalie, focusing on social work or master's. I get it. Go do your thing. She's a good kid, and that's what they're all good kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, next question would be, when it comes to training, being that you've been on the mat for quite a while, someone that is trying to get better and stay on the mat for a long time, what do you think you could maybe recommend they try to focus on so they don't burn themselves out?
Number one is get yourself like-minded training partners. It's a harder thing when you're older. Listen, I'm in decent shape. I like rolling with these young guys. They keep me honest. Find people your age. Find people similar size, similar motivation. You know, guys who are experienced, guys who are inexperienced, but guys you trust. Every day I go on the mat, I roll with the people I trust. I know, you get hurt. Injuries happen. I think we've hurt each other at least 6 times. It happens. But you don't get the guys who are crazy. You don't get the guys who are trying to win the UFC contract on top of you. You know, you gotta, what's the old adage, train smarter, not harder?
Yeah.
You know, I've varied my training. I've reduced the weightlifting tremendously because my joints can't take both it and jiu-jitsu. So I do core work and I do my jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is what is my bread and butter. Something has to go. You can't do everything. That's
you go smashing into.
You can maybe a little everything, but you have to know.
You know your body. You
know your body. Like today is Wednesday. Wednesday is my rest day. I don't do anything because I'm on the mats. I'm doing everything other 6 days. Believe me, I want to be at jiu-jitsu. I want to go tonight. There's a class at law. I like jumping in. If I do it, I'm never going to recover. Amir saw me hobble in. You know, I have little disc issues like everybody else my age in jiu-jitsu, but be smart.
Yeah. So, be smart, guys.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen overnight. It's the journey, not the destination.
And that's the thing. It took me a long time for the black belt, longer than most. Life, kids, family, work, dedication. You see a lot of guys get farther, shorter times. Pick your own pace. I got here eventually. Like it is, like Amir said, it's the journey.
How much sweeter was it though when you got it?
It was great. It was really, it's up there with having kids, getting married. It's one of the big things in my life.
Guys, dedication. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 10 years. I'm a purple belt. Dave is double what I got. Guys, 10 years is a long time to do one thing. So 20 years, forget about it,
And actually, I got to take this time. Eric Mancini, who's another black belt. He's the guy. He was my first instructor. I got to give him the big shout out. I went for that first class. He's the one that really drew me in. And he was there when I got my black belt. It meant a lot. It was really just... I watch the video every now and then, not because I'm like, oh, look at me, I got a black belt. Just to see the people, just to see the camaraderie, it's just really, it's nice.
Yeah, it's definitely a family atmosphere and a brother. It's a real brotherhood.
And sisterhood.
And sisterhood, yes.
Listen, it doesn't matter. Young, old, male, female, you walk in that building, if you're there for a reason, and you belong there.
When it's Liz, I don't know if it's a brother or a sister. All right, so a couple more questions, Dave. Thank you so much, first of all, for coming down today. But real quick, what are 3 of your greatest achievements, that you've accomplished? Doesn't have to be on the mat, that you say would shape, I guess, when people say, oh, Dave Patton, this is what I remember.
Well, most importantly and quietly, and I'd be in trouble if I didn't say it, but I don't say it because of that reason, it's my family. My family, my wife, my kids drive me crazy. They make me nuts. They make me angry. They make me happy. They make me sad. But we're all a part of it. I produce 3 good kids. One isn't biologically mine, but she's as much as my kid as any of the other 2. And that... My wife, who has supported me all these years, and I support her with her soccer playing, marathoning madness. That's it. That's number 1. Number 2 is I spent 25 years public service. 5 as a medic in the city, 20 as a deputy sheriff out here. And I did my job. I did a good job. I did what I was supposed to do. I wasn't a bad cop. I was a good cop. That, to me, is important. And not so much the black belt, but just being in jiu-jitsu, being a part of this for so long. So those are my big three. That, and I invented the internet.
No. Oh yeah, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. But no,
Al Gore is wrong. I was making that.
So yeah, that's awesome. Again, I look up to you, Dave, and I'm so happy that you're able to share all this wisdom, information, whatever you want to call it, with the people.
Wisdom. That's the first time anything I've said has been described as wisdom.
So you're helping shape some of the audience, but who do you say maybe? We know Matt and Ray. I'm gonna let you kind of default them out of this one.
Okay.
So who would you say are maybe three people that helped influence you the most throughout your? And we talked about Eric.
Yeah. So he's defaulted too. All
sorry.
Right.
Well, no, you can throw him in there.
No. Well, first of all, he above and beyond. Like I said, he captured my day one. I walked in there, and I was hooked to him. So we're gonna default him. So you're saying just in jiu-jitsu?
Oh no, in general, in life. Could be your parents, your wife, your bosses, your whatever.
Yeah, well,
I just shot you in the foot right there.
No, it's okay. no, because I love my parents. My parents and I are the most opposite people in the world. My mother was a master's degree in social work, which is interesting because that's what my daughter's working on. My father was a lifelong college professor. My sister is a college professor who teaches at Princeton. And there's Dave, So family, yes. My parents, they raised me well. We don't understand each other so much, but we love each other and we're supportive of each other. So I'm going to default them out. I'm going to go strictly jiu-jitsu.
All right.
Because that's
I'm okay with that. That's you, man.
Three people. There's people who got me to think outside the box. Other than the big guys like the Sarahs and the Longos, John Delgadio, who's probably never going to hear this, Del, really good black belt. Years ago, kind of a gruff guy. You've met him, right? Made me change my game. No more fat guy grinding, shoulder pressing. He opened my eyes to jiu-jitsu, to technique, to gi. He made me wear the gi exclusively for a long time. He really opened my eyes to the game. Tony Quagliata, who's an older guy, he may even be a few years older than me. Just a beast on the mats, trains, upbeat, the most upbeat guy you have ever met, upbeat to the point where it makes me insane.
I love Tony, man.
I'll get up, tired, growing in there. The guy drove a truck all night. He got 30 minutes sleep, and he's up on the mat, upbeat, yelling, training, coaching, pointing the way. That guy, to me, that's amazing. And the big one right now, Jason Rao, who I think you actually interviewed him, right?
Hi, Jay.
Guy's amazing. Guy just has a way of looking at jiu-jitsu I can't even begin to comprehend. He has helped me. And here's a kid almost half my age, training probably 2/3 as long as I have. I've learned so much from him, from his attitude, from his drive. That kid's work ethic
incredible.
is insane. Everything he has is because his team and him working. Those three are right now the biggest influences. And of course, all my students. No, it's a lot of people to name, but
yeah. But those
it really, and I just banged right into the table holding the mic.
That's all good.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun one for people to listen to, that's for sure. Last question, Dave, and then I'm going to let you go on your day. And, what's some things you're working on? What are some things you have lined up? And where can people find you?
Okay, well, people can find me at 3 places. They can find me at Law MMA, which is exactly, Longo and Weidman. If you Google it, you get to the website. You can find me through Sarah's. And you can find me if you're interested in the dog rescue, which we really didn't get into.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that next.
FBRRNY.com, Fur Babies Rescue and Referral, New York. Like Amir said, I foster dogs. I have 3 coming this weekend. Always ready to talk about dogs. Always ready to talk about jiu-jitsu. I'm actually working on a program now. It's kind of on the quiet side, working on an adaptive MMA program. adaptive jiu-jitsu, people with maybe not the same abilities. I had a past student who I could talk for hours about, Ian, who had cerebral palsy and trained with us. And believe me, it was more him than me in that relationship. He had the drive. But it's led me to other people seeking me out. And I'm working with a couple other people who actually have issues they don't want to talk about, so I don't want to expand on. But I'm looking possibly to expand that program. And it's kind of funny. It's just I'm not overly qualified. I didn't train specifically for that. It just kind of led me that way.
Listen, that's I'm gonna just chime into we train a bunch of wheelchair athletes here, and that's not something I went to school for. But now I'm learning so much about it, and now they've been here over a year, and the impact they've made on my life is incredible. So I can't imagine the type of impact that Ian and others have been able to make on yours, and what you're doing is awesome.
That kid, he was like if Matt's a party on two legs, Ian was,
party in a chair.
He was what the funny thing is, he liked that joke. He was always making jokes about it. He was like an entire street festival. It was that guy. Yeah, was amazing.
It's outlook, man.
Yeah,
our outlook is so skewed sometimes with all the things we have. So, actually, just a bonus question is talking about the things we have. Fostering dogs, I definitely told you we were going to talk about this when we originally spoke about you coming on the podcast, and I didn't want to leave it out. Something that is, especially now with all these hurricanes happening, and how important it is what you're doing and why you're doing it. Maybe you could share with people the importance of fostering a dog as opposed to putting them in a shelter.
Well, it's, the important thing is, dogs are social animals. And listen, I'm all for rescuing cats. I don't necessarily do it myself, but it's pretty much all animals. Animals are, they're domesticated or not, they're animals. They're not designed to live in cages. It's not good for them. But especially dogs, they're pack animals. They're social. They need contact, they need each other, and they need people. By taking these dogs, we take ours predominantly from the south, from kill shelters. And you say kill shelter, everybody's like, oh my God, it's evil, they're terrible people. Kill shelters are a bad thing to have to exist, but we get it. The city has them. There's a large number of dogs, in the millions every year put down. If we had, by me taking a litter of those dogs out of the shelter, I'm doing a little bit. I'm saving a few of those dogs. I'm bringing them up. There's more room in the shelter for another dog. Maybe those dogs can stay longer. Maybe those dogs get seen by other families and get adopted. It's kind of like pushing against the tide, but I'm making a little bit difference. And it's fun. I like playing with the dogs, and I get to have...
They're all puppies.
They're all puppies. Well, yeah, they're pretty much puppies. And, there have been times where there's been 13 dogs in my house. It's just a lot of fun. They're run only temporarily because you can't have more than a certain number in your house, and I get it. But it's fun. I have 3 dogs of my own, and they love it. They love, especially my pit bull, loves playing with the puppies, and it's fun. It's a good time. I'll sit there watching a football game, and I'll have 6 dogs on top of me. We're watching football. It's great. So you selfishly get to do something good for society.
That's cool. And hey, it's a little bit. You saying you make a little impact, but it's a little on top of a little on top of a little, and that's what makes it happen, guys. And if you've learned anything from Dave, I hope you learned that it's really about that. It's about being consistent, about keeping the consistent positive attitude, the outlook. And I can't thank you enough, Dave. Guys, we're going to be back. More episodes coming soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and we are out.